All right, welcome back everyone to another episode on Build Break Discover. In this week's episode, I'm going to be basically taking apart this central machinery drill press. It's definitely been modified. Looks like it's got several different swap outs and upgrades. It even looks like the pipe has been cut short and then rewelded. So we'll take a look at it. I think what I'm going to start off with first is removing this Jacobs chuck, which I believe is up to a 1/2 inch size. I think the technical name is either like a M32 or I think it's actually a JT33. But anyways, I'll go ahead and get this thing removed, and then I like to dunk these things in evaporust. So I got actually quite a bit of drills, taps, and easy outs and stuff like that that I like to kind of wait for a while until I got a good amount kind of saved up, and then I'll empty about 2 containers worth of evaporust in here, and I'll just let the stuff sit overnight, and then basically the part will be brand new. But I don't want to waste any time. Let's get right into this thing. Um, the overall internal components look pretty good. I'm not going to mess with too much stuff here. Seems like the light functions correctly. Everything else is fine. I'm just going to go ahead and start basically removing this space on here, figuring out what's going on with the pipe, maybe the wiring for the switch. There's a couple things that are messed up, but I think I'm just going to go ahead and start taking the basics apart and then just kind of go from there. So one of the things I noticed right away is the return spring on this is basically shot. I've already pulled it off and set it aside. I'm going to go ahead and order another one. And the one I'm going to order for the central machinery is probably going to fit like a standard Delta drill press. So it's basically, it looks about the same size, so we'll see if it functions later on. So one of the things I noticed right away was the pipe did not look like it was welded back on correctly. It was actually about an overall eighth of an inch out of square, which is actually not good. So what I do to stuff like this is I'll kind of scuff it up to see about where it starts and where it ends. But then with either a piece of Scotch-Brite or sandpaper, I'll go through and remove all the surface rust, and that'll give me an exact location. And since I'm going to be refinishing this pipe, I don't care if I do the whole length. I plan on making it look good anyways. But this kind of gives me the nice, perfect zone of where I need to mark it. And then on the end, put a wet rag so sparks aren't just flying everywhere, and basically cut this thing open. So usually when I mock up stuff like this, I want to make sure I got a nice solid piece of angle iron. In this case, it's about 3/16 of an inch, but it's about 3 by 3 inches. And I've beveled both pipes, and I've made an indication mark on where I first originally cut it. Everything looks nice, flat, and straight, and that's what I want. Now it's just a matter of tacking it carefully in place and making sure that I do stitch welds all throughout the pipe so that I don't distort it or cause any kind of warpage and be back to square one again. Alright, so after grinding the weld down, I try to get it as close to the surface as possible without gouging into the pipe. And to go a little step further, I like to hand sand it just to kind of see where my high to low spots still exist. And then I'll come through with an actual orbital sander, like an oscillating sander or a palm sander, and just kind of go over it further so that the details towards the end look as if nothing almost happened. Now, obviously, you could still see something was there, but for the most part, the object isn't going to lock because there's a partial weld in the way. So I did buy a rotating handle for the Z-axis, but I totally had a brain fart, and basically drilling that thing out, I caused the the metal to melt through the plastic. So it's pretty funny, but anyways. So you can see I removed a few of the teeth from the gear rack. That should allow me to pre-drill it with a 1/4 20. And then for this, I'm a little bit over 3/8. So if I find an exact 3/8 tap, I'm going to drill and tap for 3/8 16, and then kind of take it from there. So here's a little tip I learned a long time ago. If you don't have an exact transfer punch set on hand, that's okay. Wrapping a little piece of electrical tape around it to the right diameter of the hole will allow you to still transfer your punch. So you see here, I got a couple pieces of steel made, a little movie star magic. I could get it fabricated. And what I'm going to use this for is pretty self-explanatory. You'll see here in a second. But I'm going to weld it up and then use it to bolt to the steel plate. And then on the side, I'll bolt it right here. And then it's still bolted to the plate. So that way this thing doesn't move. Now it's at a good height. And I went ahead and 3D printed this sample piece because this is basically what I'm trying to accomplish. And as much as I want to use this piece, I plan on using something a lot bigger and more heavy duty. So the concept is great. Maybe I'll make one in the future fully 3D printed, which I think would be pretty sweet. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and continue with marking all of where I need these holes to be at and what's going to basically be the height overall once all this stuff is assembled. So you can see here, this is the main connection that will be basically bolting to this plate. Yeah, basically about right there. So 4 holes will be there that mount to that. This piece here, which is supposed to be my top orange 3D printed piece from earlier, that will bolt to the steel 1/2 inch plate. And I went ahead and machined this down to the right diameter, which will obviously be what slips into that little sleeve. So fast forward now, my tolerances are great. This thing is fully bolted together. It's already been threaded and tapped, drilled in place, countersunk, you name it. And basically, boom, it's going to go right up on top, just like that, and mount the second portion of it. So pretty self-explanatory. I'm just going to line everything up that I already pre-drilled and tapped. Throw a couple washers in there, some hardware. I am going to fix the top section of this while I'm here, because that did break off. But I'm going to throw a little bit of super glue and some fiberglass in there. Once it's set, I can bolt it right back up to the face of this, and it'll look a lot better than it did before. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this bottle open, and I have the remaining parts that I pulled off in the earlier portion of the video. I'm going to go ahead and get these things set up with some Evapo Rust. Let them sit for probably maybe about an hour or so. While I'm working on something else, I can let them do their thing. And then, we'll top this thing off until it's completely submerged, and then I'll come back to it later. So it's been about an hour, maybe hour 15. So this thing's looking pretty sweet. I'm going to go through and, add the grease to it. I also did this one off camera. So you can see this one actually came out really nice. So same thing, I'll put the grease right back where it belongs. Brand new. And then, yeah. Alright, in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and while this stuff is already dialed in, I'm going to set it aside. And I'm going to start working on assembling the top connections again. So a couple bolts with some washers. So as you'll notice, this thing still swivels around a little bit. You'll see what I'll do here shortly to help prevent that once I lock this thing in at a good 90. I will be greasing all of these components as well because I don't want to get to it later. So might as well do it now while it's open and exposed. So same thing with all of these side pieces. So I went ahead and drilled a hole through the sleeve on the side. That's going to help put an indication mark for a set screw on the shaft. Now the plate, I do have a pin that I'm going to be putting through the plate, through the shaft, so that it doesn't rotate on me while I'm using the machine. Once locked into position, everything seems super sturdy. I mean, it's cutting really nice, which is what I want. Not a lot of chatter. It's very, very minimal, which is actually really surprising, being that it's bolted the way it is on a table. So I can only imagine what it's going to do once I put it somewhere stationary. But other than that, this thing is doing a really great job. Off camera, I went ahead and fabricated this mounting bracket out of 6061 aluminum. I gotta say, it came out really good, and I plan on using this piece of equipment in the future on other projects. Until next time.